Oh, no, Cal, it's just a silly little intelligence test.
Yeah, I mean, even if you did really bad on the test, we won't think any less of you. Thanks.
Kenan?
Well, 96? Kel, you got 96 out of 100.
Way to go!
Wow.
It says here that a 90 is a genius. Man, I wish I got a 90. Cal, you got a 96, man. That's way above 90. You're like a super genius. Like a super genius? Like a super genius? Wow. Hey, open up yours. Oh, shoot, I can't wait to see what I got, boy. You got a 96. Oh, yeah. You got like 1,000. You know what I'm saying?
Well?
How'd you do? 97.
98.
3.
93?
No. I got a 3.
You got a 3?
Yes, a 3.
A 3?
Yes, you know, more than 2, less than 4. 3 is less than a lot of numbers, isn't it?
Hey, Fantas, welcome to another episode of Kenan Kel with Adam and Aaron. I'm Adam.
And I'm Aaron. And this week, we hope that you have your thinking caps on because we're going to talk about intelligence quotient.
Otherwise known as IQ.
IQ can do it better. Is that what it is? Is that what the episode title is?
Yeah, IQ can do better, which is a real tongue twister, ain't it?
Real tongue. IQ can do better. IQ. Yeah, not that bad.
Where Kenan and Kel get their IQ test results, and the results may surprise you.
As it surprised them.
Yeah, it's an episode about intelligence, and we see some familiar faces in school that we haven't seen in a long time.
That's right. We have a little cameo from the very lovely Principal Dimly. Oh, yeah!
Dimly.
I get serious Dinkelberg vibes from Principal Dimly. I don't know if that's mutual.
I don't think I don't know what we call the Dan Schneiderverse evolved enough to have deplorable teachers yet. Principal Dimly is stuck in like a very grade school way, if you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
I felt it the first time in the beginning of season 2 when Kenan was lying to her about his parents. I feel it now.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, very like guilt-induced experience here with Principal Dimly. Anyways, we should probably get started with the episode.
Joining Cooley on the big orange couch, we start off with Kenan and Kel coming front and center on screen. I think I didn't have any notes of their outfits this time.
Kel is just wearing a plaid button-down short-sleeve shirt with a blue hat, and Kenan's just wearing a green shirt with a black jacket. Pretty normal. Pretty on par.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's where the normalness ends, as every Kenan and Kel does.
We enter the meta stage of Kenan and Kel, and we actually enter the super meta thoughts of Kenan and Kel. You know, the thoughts that are far above what they're just doing, but what they're actually thinking.
The joke this intro is that Kenan and Kel's voices inside their heads are now projected for all to hear.
And like an echoey sound.
Yeah.
Begins by Kenan complimenting, with his real voice, complimenting Kel on his new cologne because he smells nice. Kel's like, thank you. And then Kenan turns away and his thought says something about his cologne smelling like hot garbage.
That cologne smells like hot garbage.
Which is a novel concept, hot garbage. Sitting outside in the summertime.
That's a bad smell.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That sounds like one of those Monsters, Inc., body spray smells.
You know, Adam, I wrote my college essay about a dumpster and how it resembled the monster in my life. So you just, I'm gonna need a couple minutes to recover from the Monsters Inc. joke. No, I'm just kidding.
From that connection. Cal looks out into the audience and sees for himself, his thoughts are like, everyone looks so nice, except for that sombrero guy. He looks kind of creepy.
And then Kenan's thoughts are, hey, there's my cousin wearing the sombrero.
Cal's random thought, as his thoughts often are, is that, I wonder where giraffes come from.
And then Kenan's thought replies to Kel's thought.
They come from mama giraffes, you dummy.
And that's the first animal mother-child reference we had in this episode. One of two.
I thought you were saying like on the show altogether. I'm like, I guess so. They may have talked about
that's the
mama
fourth.
kangaroos once.
That's the fourth. No, that comes later.
Yeah, my notes aren't that intensive.
Are you kidding? You don't have them cataloged?
I don't have animal parent thought like notes.
I write my notes in the same book I write my notes for my classes. Same notebook.
Well, at least you're one of those people that fully utilizes their notebook. Mine is, I am a serial notebook starter, but never really get to the end.
No, I finish every notebook pretty much.
But we're both INFJ. How could that happen?
Oh, I have something to say about that because I took a better personality test. I was in a testing mode yesterday, so I took a personality test, and I actually took an IQ test as well.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't even realize this episode was coming up.
No, that's a handy coincidence.
That's handy. First one I ever took.
You have to gloat about your personality later. But yeah, no, Kenan Kel back and forth, where Kel's like, wait, you can hear my thoughts? Of course I can. Now, come along, slushy. Splushy.
There's a P in there.
Say the thinking for tonight's show.
And I think we already have a really bad representation of what IQ is. Because it's like, oh, you're so smart that you can read people's minds. And that simply is not, I mean, maybe it is how it works.
No, yeah. They throw around the word genius a lot this episode. And it's, also IQ tests work very differently than they're portrayed.
Yeah, we'll get into that all. But that's basically the end of the intro. And so we open the curtains, and we have Roger and Kenan in a nice little father-son moment in the morning. I really like this scene.
We have a couple of those this episode, which I really appreciate.
Yeah, it was nice that they threw them in there.
Season 3 has good Roger-Kenan chemistry.
Yeah, they did a good job of implementing it, working it in.
So they enter the kitchen, right?
Yep.
They get their bowls of cereal together. Did you notice the order that they put the milk and cereal in?
They put the cereal in first like normal people.
Yeah, well, they also put in half the gallon of milk, so they must love milk.
But they Kenan's holding the bowls or whatever. Kenan puts the cereal in, and then Roger's holding the bowls, and Kenan's pouring the milk in. It's really cute.
They're really tag teaming it. It's very.
But they make them so fast, they're flying through this.
Oh yeah. So they sit down at the table, eat some. Roger asks for some sugar from Kenan, and Kenan lifts up Kel to give him a pack of sugar.
Yes, because Kel is passed out on the table through this whole scene.
Yeah. And
nobody acknowledges it until, after a couple more bites, Roger says, Kenan, why is Kel on the table?
What's he doing on the table? Looks like he's sleeping, Pop.
Yeah, and he's just chilling, straight chilling, face down on the small circular kitchen table.
I'm surprised he fits on that thing.
Does not fit. I mean, there were so many places that he could have slept.
Like the couch next door?
The couch, yeah, that's one. He definitely has a bed upstairs in Kenan's room, too.
Yeah, he pulls out the sleeping bag when he's over. So Cheryl joins them in the kitchen and gets some coffee. And she asks, Kenan, why is Kel on the table?
And Kenan basically tries to wake him up, and Kel spazzes out. And as he spazzes out, and when he wakes up, Cheryl throws her coffee, and Roger, of course, gets cereal all over him. To which, I'm not mad about this one, or I'm not upset for them, because they were asking for it, sitting around the table that he was at.
Yeah, no, there's no use crying over what's happened.
Spilled milk. No use crying over spilled milk. So Roger, of course, is upset. As always, quite the terrible temperament from Roger. He is very volatile.
He changed moods on a dime. And I love what Kel says to him. He's like, "Morning, Mr. Rockmore. Looks like you got 2 bowls of cereal and coffee all over your shirt."
Oh yeah, Kel is just on the money. Well, we find out that Kel was up sleeping on the table because he was up late studying for the IQ test.
And Kenan informs him that you can't study for an IQ test. Either you have it or you don't. Motioning to himself and then Kel.
Yes. That's kind of the ongoing joke throughout this whole episode. Kenan clearly is smart and Kel is clearly not smart. So their IQ test should probably reflect that.
Right. But Kel insists on training. And not just book training. He's got some Rocky implements, as I would call them.
Oh yeah, he's got a construction helmet with weights taped to the top, like vertically, and he starts doing like this neck exercise,
Yeah,
which I've seen at the gym. I've seen something very similar. People are crazy.
Can
Training
you
their neck.
identify by what color of the weights, how much he's using?
Oh man, I don't know if they still use that color code.
Okay.
The same color code as back then.
Well, in that case, but yeah, no, he's doing it, and Kenan says, "Now come on, smart, let's go to school." Kel likes that compliment a lot.
What, you think I'm smart? And then Mrs. Rockmore's like, I'm sure you guys are both gonna do fine. And Kel is just making a fool of himself. And so they go to leave. Kel tries to walk out the back door. The dumbbell, the weights that are stacked very high hit the door frame, and he falls over very dramatically.
A little slapstick to end the scene.
I think at some point Kenan says, "Come on, Smuffy."
I heard Smarty. Okay, but
Okay, that might have been Smarty.
well, we need a new scorecard here of what's being said. Are you on Paramount Plus now?
Yeah, it's the same thing as CBS All Access. Stupid
Sorry.
little tiny. Why are you laughing?
I'm sorry.
At least I
Did
got
they
the
count
outro this time. No, I got the
good.
outro. Yeah,
This might be one of my favorite outros of the entire show.
it's pretty good. It's classic. Anyways, we head over to the classroom.
In Capone High School, everyone's ready and anticipating this test.
Yep. We have our favorite cast of characters here. We have Mark, and we have Charla. We also have Kel and Kenan, and Kel is standing at a podium with a large book. Mark asks Kel what he's doing, and Kel says,
Studying the dictionary. They got a word here for everything.
exactly.
A lot of good Kel lines this episode, just sprinkled all over the place. Kenan's doing something far more productive.
Kenan, it looks like he's studying, but he's not studying. He's actually just drawing a picture. And Adam, what is he drawing a picture of?
It's a caricature of Principal Dimly.
Whoa, that's not how you say it. Caricature.
Caricature of Principal Dimly. I've made that mistake before, I think, on this show.
I just had to say something. Caricature.
And it has the caption that says, "I am a dimwit," which I have to say, this was clear. Kenan did not make this.
Kenan did not make this.
We've seen its artistic talents before.
It's true. It's very true. I feel like this has happened across generations since the beginning of time. This kind of like caricature picture of some figure in the school that nobody really likes that much.
Yeah. And I don't think Principal Dimly has any like exaggerated features or anything like that.
No. She's very kind. I mean, Kenan had her over at
For dinner.
For dinner. I don't know. I mean, he turned very quickly into not liking her.
Yeah, Kel rushes over to see it and he laughs at it. And he's like, "Look, it looks like Principal Dimly except with comically exaggerated features."
Yeah, which was the first little hint that, maybe Kel put together a very nice sentence there with a lot of intelligent words.
Well,
And an adverb.
Yeah. Principal Dimly enters the room, and Mark is the first one to greet her, like as the nosiest teacher pet that he is.
He approaches her with a homemade pastry that he made her.
And she's just like, "Give it to me later," which is weird that they have that kind of arrangement.
Are we going to start a conspiracy theory here about...
No, I do not want to. I'd like to think that Mark just bothers everyone, including the students and the teachers, with his like brown nosing. But he is not aware of it at all.
Ignorance is bliss, as they say. Anyways, Principal Dimly sees Kel, who's standing in front of the classroom showing everybody this picture of her, this exaggerated picture of her, which is not good. If they get caught with this picture, somebody's getting suspended. But so Kel like rushes back to his seat. She asks him what he's holding in his hand. Basically, they somehow get out of it and they cover it up.
Yeah, he's like passing off to Kenan, and Kenan's all like, "I've never seen that before in my lifetime." But eventually they change the topic to the IQ test.
Yeah, she quickly changes the topic. She doesn't want to discipline anybody because this is a very important test, Adam. This test is very important. This might be the most important test that these students ever take.
And Kel's nervous, and Kenan's trying to calm him down. And Dimly's not helping with these. these accolades on it. And Kel and Dimly have a back and forth about what if, like, be quiet, let me know if you have any questions, and how that makes no sense.
Yeah, but your IQ test, you're not supposed to ask questions. You're supposed to sit there.
That's part of the test.
Okay, first off, we gotta talk about like the whole what's happening here. They're administering an IQ test in high school, and they're saying that it's important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
And it's simply like that. Has that ever happened ever? Did they used to do that? Did they used to like give them IQ tests in school? Because nowadays IQ tests are not at all held in the same regard. Although there's some debate whether there's merit to them or not.
There's like the Mensa program too, and it's a whole. But the other important thing is that it's a different grading system. It's not 1 through 100. There's like
1
it's
through
a curve.
155.
Yeah, and you get like a percentile.
Or it's
right.
40, I think it's 45 to 155, and yeah, you got a percentile, but you also got a raw score.
Giving them the benefit for the doubt, I might say that this is not a strict IQ test, but more of a suggestion placement, like something to that tune.
I do feel like back in the day they used to use them in school instead of like standardized tests to kind of track kids.
Yeah, what if this like predated any PSAT stuff or anything like that?
Probably, yeah, probably. No, that's probably how they used to do it, and then they realized that they weren't entirely accurate. And there's a lot of issues with the IQ tests, but
I might interpret this as like a percentile thing from like the center. So like if you got an 80 on this test, you're like in the top 20 percentile.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's generally how it works. I don't understand the scoring system that they have, and whatever.
I think it's for children to understand.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's a very easy concept to understand. Here's a test that measures how smart you are.
They pass up the tests, and Kel whispers to Kenan an important question.
Kenan, what did you get for numbers 1 through 100?
Yeah, there's a lot of shushing back and forth. You see Mark like rapidly answer the test.
Yeah,
and hand it in.
He hands it in and says, "Finished." And he's like looking to see if anybody else finished, which I got upset about. Mark, you lost me, man. You had me for a while. I was like, I'm down with Mark. I've never liked the kids who finished a test and made everybody else feel bad for not being done yet.
Just no social awareness or anything whatsoever.
Nope. Or like when a student will like raise their hand when I'm like going over like test corrections and they're like, I got 100. What do I do? I'm like, what do you do? Shut up! The person next to you did not get 100. So, in fact, they got much less. So like, stop that.
You're fine. Take it easy. Think about something else. You're doing fine.
Just no social awareness. No, we need to be respectful of other people.
I had kids in my engineering class that were like that. They were like, oh man, I cried after that test, and my professor's like, why did you like? We were in office hours, and they're like, I cried after that test. It's like you got like a 95. That's like incredible. Meanwhile, I was like with like a soft C. Like trying to get pointers on what I did wrong. So yeah, no, screw them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Point grubbers. We call them point grubbers.
Point grubbers. No grubbers, please.
No.
Yes, I think that version of Mark deserves peanut butter in his underwear. Let me tell you.
Or motor oil on his face.
Maybe motor oil on his birthday. So
oh my god. Well, anyways, Kenan and Kel are like having this back and forth basically, and Charlotte's like shh, and Kenan's like you shh, and Principal Dimly gets all mad because they're talking her the test, which you're not supposed to talk. She gets really upset, and then they basically end up shutting up and getting on with the test.
Yep. On with the test. We cut back to the Rockmores as Kel kind of frantically fills in answers. And what's happening there? More Kenan Roger bonding, right?
Yeah, they're playing chess, a la Queen's Gambit.
Yeah.
Every time I hear chess now, I'm like, I know a lot about chess. I watched the Queen's Gambit.
You watched the whole series?
Yeah. Wasn't
okay.
That? It was only 8 episodes or 6?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I'm still on like the first one.
Oh my God! You gotta come on. What did that?
I'll catch up.
You're not watching it. I watched that with you and Rachel like 3 months ago.
Yeah,
It doesn't
you
count
watched
as
the first
watching
episode with me.
Yeah, it gets so much better after that.
I'm studying for a test. I've got an excuse.
No, are you studying for an IQ test, Adam? Really?
The engineering test, but
Yeah, a likely story.
I nearly took the Mensa test last year, but because of COVID, it was canceled.
What's that?
Mensa is like the IQ people. If you get like a top percentage, you get to join an exclusive club of what I'm assuming is a bunch of Mark Crams.
Oh, Mensa test.
Yeah.
If we got any Smarties out there,
If you want any validation,
you got any Mark or Janices out there, you know what to. If you need,
Yeah,
if you
Mark
need,
and
you need a
Janice
pat
are
on the back for being a nerd.
so Roger makes a move, and he's like, "Let's see you get out of this one."
Oh, that was an awful Roger. You sounded like what's the octopus guy from Pirates of the Caribbean?
Davy Jones.
You sound like Davy Jones.
Let's see you get out of this one.
No.
So, anyways, Kenan replies to that by moving his queen to G7. No, I'm just kidding. I have no clue what the spaces are. He moves his queen, knocks over one of his pawns, and he says checkmate. And Roger loses it. He flips the table, storms away, and says, "It was an accident."
just the worst loser there is.
Oh yeah,
on the whole show, I think.
But before he did that, he called Cheryl over to watch the move. That's the best part.
Watch me beat Kenan.
Oh boy.
So Kel enters, and he's got the Rockmore's mail.
He yells, "Mrs. Rockmore!" And Mrs. Rockmore comes and gets the mail. Kel informs her that she got a letter from her cousin and she should keep in touch with him because
I really hope you guys patch things up. And then he gives Mr. Rockmore an overdue phone bill.
Cheryl is pretty upset about. I was gonna pay it.
Then he does a 180. He's like, "Kel, why you go through our mail?"
That sounded like a claymation voice.
Okay.
Like Jason Steele. You're a little off today.
I don't have any Roger in me right now.
Anyways, they're upset at Kel for going through the mail, and he was like, "Well, I was gonna see if there was something for me," and so Roger takes the rest of the mail, and Kenan says, "Why would there be something for you? You don't live here." And of course, Roger says, "Kel, this is for you."
And Kenan has the same. It's their IQ test results.
So, Adam, what are the results of Kel's test?
Kel's really afraid of doing it, so Kenan looks in it for him, and then he tells him that Kel, 96
out of 100.
Yeah, he says, "It says here that 90 is a genius," and then Kel says, "Oh, I wish I got a 90."
Which great line. like really like that has layers to it.
Yeah, no, but Kenan explains to him, "No, you got 96. That's more than 90. You're like a super genius."
That's right. He's like a super genius, and then Kel loses it. I'm a super genius. I don't know. I don't know if I'm allowed to make Kel voices like that.
I don't know either.
I'm sorry. It's just I love Kel, and I don't know if that's a real.
Well, I've been struggling with that this entire run of our podcast.
We haven't talked about it. So, we probably shouldn't be impersonating the impressions of these people who we admire and love, and we have a whole podcast dedicated to them.
Right. It's not mean-spirited. We love them.
Oh my God, we love them.
Inside and out.
Kel is a super. So Adam, I just want to point out, genius and super genius are actual like IQ test terms. So
Really?
it's not. Yeah, it's not just like if you look at the scale, the scales will say like genius, super genius, smarty. I don't know what the other ones are, but
Well, there you go. So Kenan is excited because if Kel got a 96, what has he got?
a 97, a 98, as his parents are cheering him on, and he finds out that he gets a
3. A 93? No, just 3.
more than 2, less than 4. Ken Kel goes.
He says, 3 is less than a lot of numbers.
It just, I don't know how do I feel about this scene. Like a 3 is just unbelievable.
3
That's
is
impossible.
comically low, as we point out in later scenes.
Yeah, it's just absurdly low.
Yeah, no, that's in college terms, that's like Calc 2 test score low. Like, Cal's like, hang on, let's check the score. Let's check the chart. And he goes through the list. 90 and above is a genius. Then he celebrates.
And then 80 and above is like a above average, and 70 or whatever.
He goes down the list. Near genius, above average, below average, way below average, dumb. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, there are some. If you look at like IQ on Wikipedia, there's like a whole list of different rankings, and some of them are funny. It's like idiot, moron, like imbecile, and some of them are just like not very intelligent. They're all just like based on different psychologists who use them, and some of the psychologists just didn't care. Like, you guys, idiots.
They assume most people are at least below average.
Yeah.
So Kenan kind of mopes over to the kitchen, and everyone sees him through the little cabinets.
And he's pretty upset.
So he slams them, and then the transition uses the screens, which I think was really awesome.
Oh, I didn't notice.
And we go to Rigby's, where there's some more IQ test talk.
Well, there's a customer. She says, like, oh, thank you very much, to Chris, who's behind the counter. And Chris says, you're welcome. The customer is always right. And she goes, I think you gave me the wrong change. And he's just like, no, you're wrong, con artist. Get out of here.
Just, I love Chris. Chris is great.
I love Chris. Great grocer. He must be one of the best grocers in the city of Chicago.
And what's interesting is that's nearly the same joke as Roger, who will lose a game and call, like, saying, you cheated, and stuff like that.
Yeah. Sore loser.
On time. But the two characters are vastly different still.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Volatile. They have the same trait.
Yeah, as well as Kenan is also volatile, and Kel. I think everyone on the show is volatile, aren't they?
That's what makes it funny. Anyways, the customer's walking out, and Kenan stops her as he's sweeping, and he says, did you know that a baby kangaroo can outrun an adult kangaroo at birth?
And she's like, no, and leaves. Aaron, can a baby kangaroo outrun a human from birth?
A human? Is that what he said?
Yeah, an adult human.
No.
No, not even. They're little joeys, and they can't like even move.
They have to stay in the pouch. Like they're not even. They don't even have fur.
Yeah, that's not even close to true. I saw that on the Kenan Kel fandom, wiki page.
Oh man,
that's one of the trivia facts. And this is what it says. It says, "quote It would have been more helpful if Kenan had said something like." Did you know that at birth, a baby kangaroo is only 1/30,000th of its mama's weight?
Oh my god, that's so small.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I just like the trivia is really like that's not a better line.
No. 130,000.
And Kenan keeps trying out some other factoids on the Rigby's regulars.
That's right. One of the factoids that he tries out is something that I forget. What does he say, Adam?
He says to Charlotte, did you know that there are 23 bones in the human foot?
No, he says 22. And she says, no, there's not. There's 26.
He's like, oh, yeah, I knew that.
Clearly he did not.
And as the rule of 3 goes, Chris, calls Kenan out about his current what he's currently doing in this shop.
Yeah, he's just sweeping the same spot for the past 15 minutes. And Kenan goes, no, I'm not. I'm smart sweeping. Look at me. I'm smart sweeping. He starts sweeping Chris's feet.
He aggressively sweeps Chris away.
He is a terrible employee, Kenan.
Yeah, he can't even pretend to do well.
He can't even pretend to do work. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, Chris gets really mad at him. It's like, that's not smart sweeping.
Chris has a very, very high standards for smart sweeping.
Oh, clearly. And Kenan's he's like, sorry, Chris, I'm upset about the IQ test. To which Chris adds kind of insult to injury by highlighting Charla's wonderful score.
Charla got a 94, and they cheer her on. Kenan reveals that he got a 3, And Charlotte and Chris are just rubbing it in. Charlotte says, "I heard a dog took the test and got a 20." And Chris replies, I heard a dumb dog took it and got a 10. They're just rubbing it in.
Yeah. Another thing, Kel enters the scene, and what is he wearing?
Oh, he's wearing a black shirt that has some letters on the front, and the letters are inside out. So Charlotte's like, "Hey, Kel, your shirt's on inside out." So he flips it around, takes it off, flips it around, and it says, "I'm a genius."
Yes. You too can own this shirt. If you go to the Kenan Kel with Adam and Aaron merch shop.
We gotta launch that, Adam.
Yeah, we will. No, I think I can do it before this episode goes up.
Oh my God! You already? Oh, I didn't even know you were. You could have told. Hand that off to me. I mean, I've like experience doing that stuff.
Or maybe I will. Let me put it this way: aprons. If we can get those, that's a possibility.
Oh,
I know we can get shirts like this.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
and we're gonna get a shirt at the very end of the episode that we'll talk about too.
Oh yeah, I can't wait. But yeah, I'm a genius shirt.
Nobody will ever get the reference. They'll just think you're a jerk, but you'll get it.
Yeah, it's for all those Kenan Kel fans out there. This is a very memorable episode. You remember this one, right?
I remember a part of this episode that's coming up that involves Kenan and Kel getting stuck somewhere.
Yeah, but so they're really upset when, well, I guess Charlotte and Chris are blown away that Kel got a 96. Kel says he's a straight up genius, and yeah, they wrestle Kenan's score out of him, and he is very angry.
He's very angry.
I got a 3.
We flip over to Kel, who has his fingers stuck in 2 bottles of orange soda.
Yeah. It's like, and how did you get a 96? All right, so they think there's a problem with the results, so Kenan wants to taking this right to the top.
Yeah, so this is kind of funny, right? Because in a normal episode, Kenan looks at the camera and he goes like, this is what he does in this episode. He looks at the camera and he says, "I'm going to get to the bottom of these test results," or something. And he like starts to twitch a little bit. Now, in a normal episode, that would mean like going to the testing center and like going into the record and changing the score and sending his and like breaking in, right? But instead he just goes to Principal Dimwit's office, which is like what you would do normally. Like this is probably one of the first times that he does the rational next step.
This whole episode has been painting Kenan as someone that's smart, right?
Right.
He's clever. He gets out of situations, and in this particular case, he does the responsible thing. He beats his dad at chess. Like he's smart, clearly.
Right.
He goes to the principal, he and Kel, and Principal definitely is very defensive about the scores.
Well, first off, Kenan he greets her by saying, "Miss Principal, Miss Dimly, Miss Lady." And he basically is saying that we think the test scores are wrong, to which she replies, "IQ tests are always correct. There is never a mistake."
Again, this is not how IQ tests work.
No. Like when you take an IQ test, they would say like, you could take this again and you might get a different score, but it's going to be in the general area.
Mm-hmm. So she's like, "Sorry, Kenan, that's what you are." She goes to leave. Then Kel says, "I got 96. Which she immediately says, "Let me see those scores."
She turns around really quickly and grabs the papers.
So she's looking at Kenan's score and believes that, yes, there may in fact be a mistake here.
Yeah, and then we see the Principal Dimwit picture sitting on her desk.
Kel had handed her that instead.
And Kenan is seething in his chair, like, "What are you doing? That is how did you..." Oh, yeah, Kenan is just so mad, which he should be.
Get ready, gang. This is an episode to cringe to.
It's cringy from here on out.
Yeah, so she grabs the papers off her desk and goes to her filing cabinets, while Kenan and Kel, within earshot, clearly, are, debating, Kenan's getting mad at Kel.
So she picks up the papers and walks over to a filing cabinet. So she has her back turned to them. They're debating what to do. And then Kel goes, "Oh, I know." And he goes over and gets on all fours to tabletop her. Like, I don't know if you ever used to do this in high school or grade school, but it's when you go behind somebody and you push them over and they fall.
Yeah, he's on all fours and he turns to Kenan and he says, "Push her.
That is just the worst idea.
Yeah. And Kenan's like, I'm not going to push the principal, man. And she turns around and trips over Kel.
Trips over, she falls. Kenan like falls on top of her, like just like pinning her to the ground. The principal.
Her glasses go askew.
The papers are everywhere, and Kenan quickly grabs the picture of her, and then helps her up. And she's just like, oh man. They're like, oh, Kel was tying his shoe. She's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Interesting note I'd like to say here is that Kel, his plan worked. So if we're talking about his like secret intelligence here, like, maybe there's something to it.
I think there is, Adam. I think there is.
With the new kind of answer key, right? Principal Dimly reviews their test scores.
And she finds out that the test scores were incorrect. Kenan didn't get a 3. He got a 90.
To which Kenan makes he squeeze and picks up the phone on her desk and shouts into it, "I'm a genius!"
He's very excited. But then there's still some apprehension because, if Kenan's score was wrong, maybe Kel's score was wrong too. And we find out that it was.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Kel, you did not get a 96. In fact, you got a 98.
That's my favorite Kel reaction.
He wheels his feet back in his chair, and then he declares aloud, "My brain is so powerful, I bet I can break this desk."
He slams his head onto the desk and falls down, collapses. He really has no. I mean, this is probably a good learning moment for kids. Like, you're not even directly learning it, but the brain isn't a muscle that you work out with like you work out other muscles. The brain's not really a muscle at all. But thank you for this lesson, Kel.
Yeah. So after doing that, Kenan's like, "Really, a 90? Really?" And apparently, yeah, that's the case. We cut to outside Principal Dimly's office, and Kenan and Kel are dancing like nobody's business.
I like that they're both happy. Like, Kenan's not mad that Kel got a higher score.
Well, in a different episode, I believe this was an episode of Hey Arnold. A similar test, the results were swapped, which is bad because someone ends up upset. In this one, they're both happy.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, and they didn't take that away from Kel, so that's a nice point.
Doesn't explain how Kel got that score.
No, do you have any theories about this? Because I have a little bit.
So IQ tests. I mean, I just took one. I know they're all different, but a lot of it's like pattern recognition,
logic stuff,
logic puzzles, and like algebra 1 word problems, basically. Like, literally, like I teach algebra 1 and geometry, and there was a lot of algebra 1 and geometry on the test, and so it's like they're saying you can't study for it. It's like you could study for it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you really paid attention to algebra 1 and algebra 2 and geometry, and you took an IQ test, you'd probably do better than you would do later on. But usually the IQ tests are actually what is it, like corrected for age or something like that? But anyways.
Yeah, I think another worthwhile point about... so, I got two thoughts about that for Kel. One is that, he crammed for this test, right? No one else did. And I don't know if there was a curve involved at all.
Yeah, probably not, because the IQ test is more of like a
individual score, right?
Well, it's not really compared to the people in your class. It's compared to like everybody in a population.
Yeah, so I think that Kel, it could be he has a phenomenal short-term memory. So just spending like all night looking on these books and stuff like that, he really delivered for that test.
Yeah, unlikely, because I don't know what he was studying, but...
We've also seen him with great moments of clarity, like in the raffle episode where he just spouts off this like crazy accurate psychological breakdown of himself in that moment.
I mean, maybe he literally just has book smarts and not street smarts.
Yeah,
like maybe he actually is pretty smart.
Well, I think we see in later episodes he continues to do great feats of intelligence, but it clearly comes and goes, so it must have been with him for the test.
Indeed. Anyways, so
They celebrate. Principal Dimly congratulates them, and she leaves. Kenan like reprimands Kel about like what were you doing giving her that picture?
yeah, give it back to me. So before you cause any more trouble. Kel's looking in his pockets, and guess what?
He looks in Kenan's pockets, and he realizes that he doesn't have it. He must have left it in there.
And Kel lets Kenan know that he wrote his name on it so that she would know it was from him.
just in wow.
Insult to injury there.
Kenan's upset, and he's like, "We got to go in there and get it."
Tries to open the door, and guess what?
It's locked.
I could have told you that one.
Kel has an idea.
What's Kel's idea, Adam?
Run at the door.
So he goes back into the hallway, and he runs forward and jumps into the door, which moves a considerable amount. It's like a set door.
Yeah, his plan almost worked once again.
But clearly they have to find another way in. It was very obvious from when they walked out of the office that there was a ladder in the background, and you just had a feeling that it was going to come in play.
Clearly, there's some construction going on at Capone High School, and fortunately, the ladder's within reach. So they get it. They use it to climb into the window that's right above Dimly's door.
Adam, I work in a school building. Okay, there is not a day that I look up and I see one of those windows and I don't think about this episode. I am not kidding. I think of this scene every day. I didn't know which episode it came from. I didn't know like what happened around it. I just remember this moment in time.
Yeah, no, it's really good. I remember this episode seeing it when I was really, very young, but I remember them as like two separate episodes. Like I thought the part where Kel gets his IQ like actual score was like the end of the episode. So the fact that it continues is Kenan's up there and I don't know what his plan is. He just kind of sticks his body halfway through.
And he's like resting his abdomen like on the middle of the post.
Yeah, he's planking on the window post.
And then up comes Kel. And Kenan's like, "What are you doing? Like you're supposed to hold the ladder." So they're both like in. It's pretty funny. They're both in this window above the door. Bodies halfway in, halfway out. And then Kel kicks the ladder back and it flies against the wall.
Yeah, thus trapping them up in this window.
It's not that high. They could easily climb down and.
They do too.
Eventually.
But first, there is a janitor going about, so they freeze in place.
The janitor just like moves the ladder from outside, and he walks in without noticing that Kenan and Kel's feet are dangling above him. He's kind of short, but he's listening to music, and so he's kind of oblivious to the outside world.
Yeah, he's got a little Walkman. He's just doing his thing, hopping around. I like this dude. I wish we saw more of him.
Yeah, he's dancing. He's like moving and grooving. He's got like he gets like the trash can and like puts the trash in and all jolly.
Yeah. He loves his job, and that's awesome from like custodial staff.
Yeah, sanitation engineer is what they're called.
Yeah, right. So okay, and then Kenan and Kel, after he leaves, make their way into Dimly's office, and the camera cuts wide, and you see two Kenan and Kel shaped figures fall into the.
Yes, we don't think it was Kenan and Kel because as Kel was standing up, Kenan fell with all of his weight on top of him.
Yeah, and the moment that one of them is about to look into the camera, they very deliberately turn away from it. So yeah, it's rare that we see stunt doubles on the show, but I'm glad they got them, and the boys didn't have to do that.
There was a really funny moment right before that when they were still hanging up there where the janitor leaves and Kel yells, "Bye!" Of course, the janitor doesn't hear because he has his music blasting. And Kenan goes, "What are you trying to do? Get us caught?" And Kel says, "What am I, stupid?" or "No, I'm a genius. I wouldn't do that." Or something along those lines.
Which is a very interesting thing to say because I think the back half of this episode is like Kel is like stupidest, isn't it?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, just maybe it's a confidence thing. The more confident he is in his intelligence, the stupider he becomes somehow.
He needs humility to be smart.
Yeah. So inside, they're going through Dimly's belongings. Kel finds her purse, and the inside is like, "Ooh, Dimly glasses," and he puts them on because, of course, he does.
And it's all blurry, and he's like tripping over stuff and looking at the camera all funny and doing the thing where his feet like go inside and like he's all like wobbly. And Kenan's like, wait a second. Why is her purse and her glasses still here?
And as he's putting that together, they hear someone working on the door. Someone's coming in. So quick, Kel, hide. And they hide in that part of the desk that you can hide in.
Yeah, like underneath it. Yeah. And it's pretty funny.
As if there's an
here.
earthquake coming.
or an atomic bomb. She walks in, looks around, the phone rings, she grabs the phone, sits on her desk, and says, "Oh, hello, schmookums." And goes on to say how she left her purse, she can't find it anywhere, but her feet are just so sore. And she kicks off her shoes, and her stinky feet are right in front of Kel's face, and it's pretty funny.
Yeah. Again with the foot thing.
Oh, you're right. Oh, Dan.
Well, it's anti-foot, certainly, because after she leaves, Kel says like her foot like burned my smell away.
Still too many feet.
I agree, but she leaves, and they are safe and sound.
Somebody should write an essay about Dan Schneider's foot fetish.
Oh, I think there's a couple Twitter pages. There's Twitter accounts that are gathering information. Yeah.
Oh my God, poor Dan. Well, I'm not poor Dan. He's weirdo.
No. Yeah, poor everyone else.
Yes. Sorry.
So Kenan tells Kel to get the lights because Dimly turned them off. And wearing Dimly's glasses, what does he do?
Well, Adam, he doesn't hit the lights. He hits the fire alarm.
And just the cringe continues as the sprinklers come on. Apparently the fire department was inspecting the building because they were right there out that door.
They come in 30 seconds later, not even. The sprinklers are on, drenching the office, like just destroying records. It's pretty funny. Adam, I was in the building today and the fire alarm kept going off because they were running tests on it. So
you thought of the scene too?
This episode is just right on. I was cracking up when he hit the fire switch. I was like, oh my God. Like it's right next to the door switch. No protective covering.
Dimly, the janitor and the fire marshal are all there, and they're all upset with Kenan and Kel for being in the office. And as Kenan's trying to come up with some explanation, Kel produces the Dimly drawing.
He's like, "Oh, Kenan, I found it. It was in my pocket the whole time."
So, of all the documents that were destroyed, that was perfectly preserved in Kel's pocket. He passed it to the janitor, who sees it. He's like, dimwit.
And of course, Dimly's standing right next to him. She goes, "Let me see that." She grabs it, and Kel goes, Here are your glasses."
And Kenan says what everyone wants to say at that moment. Why?
And she gives a look, and the sprinklers are still raining down, I believe, and that's the episode.
Yeah, a lot of trouble they got to in that, the 11th hour there.
Yeah. Things got worse and worse and worse and worse.
Kel's still wearing his I'm a Genius shirt.
Kenan is like, "Man, would you take that off?"
And he says, "Okay, fine." And he does, revealing, what?
Another shirt that says, "I'm a genius."
I'm still a genius.
Oh, sorry. I'm still a genius.
And then Kenan's mocking him, and he's like, you have a shirt underneath that says, I'm a nut.
And he takes one off that says, "I'm not a nut."
I just love this gag. I remember from when I was a little kid, and it tickles
just
me every
taking the
time.
shirt off. Yeah, the shirt's ripped in the back, and he just takes it off. Yeah.
Yeah. Kenan says to him, you're not going to believe this, Kel, but I've got an idea. But what we can do next?
So he tells Kel, "Why don't you get a spice rack, a spice girl, and a spicy burrito and meet me at the ice rink."
Come on, Froggy.
Froggy? I don't even know what it was.
Well, Kel's response is, Kenan, do you want a beef burrito or a chicken burrito?
Do you want what? I don't even know these names. Can you go for it?
Yeah, well, Aaron, let me inform you, and any non-90s fans out there, there are 5 Spice Girls. Scary, Baby, Ginger, Posh, and Sporty.
Wow, I never knew that, and I don't think I ever wanted to or needed to, but now that I do, I can rest easy.
And Kel asks Kenan, which Spice Girl? Posh? Scary? Jeremy? Tootsie?
Oh my God. That's funny.
Yeah. And he takes off his shirt, revealing a final one, which says,
Oh, here it goes, and that's the one I want.
All right, yeah, no, I can tell you, we can sell that right tonight if we wanted to.
I know we can. To all of our listeners,
Those in the Aprons coming soon.
we'll add posters as well of the Kenan and Kel end of season 2.
If we can. I'm not sure if we have rights to that one.
Probably not.
And that's the episode. Aaron, whose fault do you think this episode is? Kenan's or Kel's?
That's a great question.
At first, I was thinking it was nobody's. They were just bad results.
I think it's Kenan's fault because he drew the picture. Because
Or is it Kel's fault for, like, really, really, really letting Dimly obtain it?
I don't know. I don't think you should draw pictures like that.
You think he was asking for it to begin with?
He was asking for it. I think it's Kenan's fault. I mean, it is unfair that Kenan got lied to with the test results and had to believe that he was an idiot for a couple weeks. But
Kel did write his name on it.
and Kel also, I think it's a 50-50.
50-50. Yeah, I'll stand by that. I am surprised that those are still either split or Kenan or Kel.
Yeah,
I thought for sure we'd have some, like,
definite winner.
some clear distinction.
Yeah, not the case, Adam.
Got a wonderful wife from Kenan. Kel stuck his finger in 2 bottles of orange soda from Brigney's, so that comes out of the budget. And yeah, but let's should we talk scores?
Let's talk scores and then wrap it up.
All right. So let's on IMDb, this episode is fondly remembered. It's got a high medium rating of 22 out of 62 with a 7.7. Definitely the upper half. Out of 10 bottles of orange soda, how many would you give IQ Can Do Better?
I would give this 8 bottles of orange soda.
That's very understandable.
Very good score, but I think it was missing some key moments. A little too goofy, in my opinion. I like the things that are a little bit more realistic, but overall, really funny.
Yeah, I think this is going to be in line with Skunktor vs. Mothman and To Catch a Thief for me. So I'm going to give it an 8.5. So it's pretty up there for this season. Actually, no, that's very low for this season. I've been given a lot of high scores.
This season's been good. The past couple episodes, not as good. Starting to hit that little mid-season lull, I think.
I do not think this next episode is what I would call a lull. This might be the most memorable episode of Kenan and Kel.
What is it, Adam?
Next week, you can join us as we talk about episode 8 of season 3, Attack of the Bugmen. You might remember this episode as the one with the furniture.
Oh, yeah. I remember this episode. Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Yeah, we've finally made it to that glorious
oh my God.
summit.
I feel so terrible already.
So join us as we go into next episode feeling all the moods.
Feeling all the moods. We hope that you would reach out to us if you have some comment or question or suggestion for the show at KenanKelPodcast@gmail.com. And until then, Fantas, here it goes. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Kenan and Kel with Adam and Aaron. You can send us a voice message at anchor.fm/Kenan Kel Podcast. Our social media accounts are all at Kenan Kel Podcast. That's Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Thanks, everybody.